then what is going to be the reply from Suning? You've already mentioned that Lucian. Lucian has been banned by Suning 11 times. And there's the Nidalee that we've already spoken about. So no surprises yet. We're looking for Syndra, we're looking for Lucian, and VODs, are you bold enough to predict the third ban on the blue side for DAMWON?
Well, that's the dangerous one. So I think that DAMWON, if they want to prioritize the Graves, which is something that they will often do, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Kindred ban come out from them, because then you're going to force Suning into the direction of a Lee Sin, which I think from DAMWON's perspective, they're quite happy to play into. But instead, they're going to take the approach that they took against G2, removing the Jhin. This is something that has been a very high priority for most teams as we moved into the best of 5 stage, and I think that it does make a lot of sense. The question is now, will DAMWON choose to prioritize the TF? Ooh, okay, I actually like this adaptation a lot from Suning. They're choosing to leave the Ornn open. They're saying that they do have an answer if Noguri decides to go for that pick, but you imagine in this situation that the Graves will be the lock.
And of course, even without that Kindred being banned away, you had already alluded to the fact that looking at Canyon, looking at that jungle pick, Graves was an option that they wanted to consider. It is now locked in, and Suning need to find an answer.
Now, I wonder if Suning will continue their trend of prioritizing Ezreal. They did this a lot against top eSports, but that was large in part because they wanted to take it away from JackeyLove. However, it is a strong, weak side champion. The other option, of course, is the Ashe, but I like this lock-in. It shows comfort from Suning in Game 1. It's something that Huan Feng is very comfortable on as well. And now, given that the Graves has already been locked in, they can immediately answer with a Kindred as well, knowing that they have SOFM on a champion that he's very comfortable on, and is a pretty good matchup.
And of course, for Huan Feng, Ezreal is his most played champion at the World Championship. 5 games, 5 wins. He has played Jhin 5 times as well. Looking at Sword Art's Leona, it is one of his most played champions in the World Championship 5. And also, it is his most played championship competitively over the last 2 years, with 23 competitive games.
Okay, wow. The picks coming in fast from DAMWON. So quickly talk about this Leona. As you rightly said, it is a highly contested pick from both of these teams. They love the Leona, but we know that DAMWON has an answer to it in the form of the set. They've played it multiple times before. They're willing to play things like Ashe set into it, and we'll see if Suning looks to try and remove some of those options. Meanwhile, DAMWON have gone for a very straightforward teamfight comp. Orianna, given that the Syndra has been removed, is a pretty safe blind pick, and they've also got the Ornn to now they can just ban away counters because Suning are not locking any in. So DAMWON have already a very well-rounded, strong top side of the map with the ability to save their bot lane counters for later.
So this is the second time that Angel will be playing Azir here at the World Championship, and I'm really interested to see what happens in the top lane. With Phase 2 bans coming in, the possibility of removing some of those matchups into Ornn is something DAMWON could consider. And straight out the gate, Beryl will lose access to Thresh, as the bottom lane for Suning is already locked in.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a set removed as well, but I really want to highlight this Azir pick. I think it is a great option for Suning because already you have this very long-range composition coming out from Suning. A comp that kind of keeps you at arm's length, which when you look at a Graves that wants to get in your face, wants to close that gap, with the amount of disengage that they have with the Azir, with Ezreal being able to shift away, that hard engage from the Ornn becomes a lot weaker as well. So I think the Suning are already adapting well to what they're seeing DAMWON bring out, and now their game plan is to give their bot lane the best possible matchup.
Now, what are you leaning towards for SOFM? Jarvan has been banned away. We saw that on Countdown just a little bit earlier today. One of the Red Bull plays from Worlds to celebrate. And you can see the coaching and support staff running through the options. They're going to ban away Ghost's Caitlyn and obviously that Thresh from earlier.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see his Lee Sin. I think that when I think about the Kindred, she is a pretty short-range champion unless she can get a large number of marks. And when we're already looking at this long-range comp, what Suning I think would like is more disengage and ability to offer more peel, protect the Azir and the Ezreal on the backline, and make sure that this Ornn ultimate can't really threaten them. So I think that if they do go for that, you can just use the Lee Sin kick to provide more peel, provide more disengage, and basically make it much harder for the Graves to access the backline. Remember, Ender's already done a great breakdown that showcases that SOFM doesn't play Lee like many others. He is the tank Lee. His role is to be obnoxious, be a frontline, buy time. But, of course, there are a number of other options. Ooh. Things like the Shen Jungle is something that he has brought out before and can offer a very similar form of peel in the way of his ultimate.
River Shen or Top Shen, options available to them, can decide in a moment or two. Now we'll look at those last 2 picks here from DWG Gaming. They need to find themselves their AD carry, and their support for Ghost and for Beryl.
I imagine the Ashe Pantheon or Ashe set will be the direction that they're looking at. The great thing about set against Leona is when the Leona comes in, he then gets to take the Leona right back out with his ultimate. It's a combo that DAMWON have used a lot. We saw a fair amount of set from Beryl so far in this tournament, but they are going to stick with the more aggressive option in the Pantheon. Beryl is a player that in the early game loves to roam, he loves to cover for his lanes, and he loves to provide that setup. And we'll talk a little bit more about that game as we move into the final pick for Suning.
Give me a guess on what Beryl's win rate is. Don't bother. 100% career win-loss on that champion. 11-0. He's played it twice at Worlds. And Beryl impacting the lanes is something we have seen many, many times before. The last lock-in is going to be Wukong. So Wukong into Ornn. I'm furling my eyebrows right now. What do you think of the pick?
I mean, I'm a little surprised. Usually you pick the Wukong into an AD top matchup. Wukong does a surprising amount of AP damage in lane. It can actually trade pretty effectively. I imagine that Ornn will actually be able to do quite well. But you know what? I'm going to trust Bin on this. If there's any top laner
that's very fair.
that
in
knows,
the World Final Game 1, yes.
You know, he's clearly, we know that he's confident on this pick. We know that Suning like to draft carry top laners for Bin. And he already played this in the semifinal up against top eSports. And he had a fantastic performance on it. They have like quite a few different options because they have some dive with the Shen Wukong combo, but they also have a pretty long range comp with the Azir and the Ezreal. So I feel like that Suning are going to look to play a very straightforward front to back comp, and I think that DAMWON's going to look to do the same thing. So I imagine that we're actually going to get a pretty slow early game, and a lot of this game is going to be focused on the team fights.
Team fights, early dragons, see if there's going to be fights around those objectives. Taking a look at some of the research as far as Bin and the Wukong goes, he has played it 8 times this year, a win ratio of around 63%. He's played it once here at the World Championship, so it is a pick that he falls back to very, very frequently. And you can see in the stadium from Shanghai, this is game 1 in the best of 5, the last series of the World Championship for a shot at hoisting the Summoners Cup. It cannot be understated how different the environment is now in a stadium with 6,000 fans very clearly in favor of Suning as well. And it's going to be up to Suning to show us what they can do with this River Shen, with this Wukong. VODs, we talked so much about draft coming into this, how important it was going to be. How do you feel after you see the pieces that are put together?
Wow. The positives, in my perspective, for Suning is that they've got comps that they were able to play against top. When they played against top in that best of 5, it was very Drake-focused, very team-fight focused, and I felt like that if they can play that style, that's their best opportunity for success. Whereas the big concern I have is this bot lane. Beryl being on the Pantheon, they're a very aggressive 2 versus 2, and I feel like that Jackie Love and Yuyanja didn't punish this bot lane from Suning as hard as they could have, but you know that a duo like Ghost and Beryl will. So I'm going to be keeping my eyes on how aggressive they're going to look to be in this 2 versus 2 with the Pantheon, how Beryl roams around the map, and what these 2 junglers, what their plan is going to be in the early game.
Oh, a lot of pressure, and in the World Championship that has been so heavily determined by your jungler's ability to impact the game. SOFM taking on Canyon. DWG Gaming taking on Suning. The 2020 League of Legends World Championship Final. Welcome to the Rift for game 1 in this best of 5. Straight out the gates. Catching a quick glimpse, defensive starts across the board. It doesn't look like any shenanigans afoot of Canyon. Does step forward. Bin and SOFM are waiting just behind the river entrance, but I don't think anything will play out here.
So you can see the 2 wards in the bottom right of your screen, just at the entrance of the river from both supports to try and cover. It looks like Beryl actually went for a very early back. I wonder if he's actually grabbed himself the sweeper. We'll be able to have yes, he has. So he's going to have that option. And something that we've been seeing a lot throughout Worlds is actually leashless starts. The main reason why you do this is to not give your opposition that much information. But as you can see, there's going to be a leash on both sides. For Suning, it's going to be a leash on the blue buff to assist the Shen with the clear. But this is going to give priority for Ghost and Beryl immediately in the lane. Meanwhile, Noguri is going to be doing the same thing. Now, I imagine the main reason for this is because it makes sense for SOFM to want to path towards the top side. He has a carry top lane. He wants to make sure that this lane is stable and safe for him. So given that the bot lane knows that their jungler is going to be pathing away from them, they're going to be playing much more on the weaker side. And they've already accepted and conceded this lane is not going to have that much cover. So we can already see he's likely going to do a full clear on the bot side of the map, then path towards top, whereas Canyon is going to do a very similar thing as he paths towards the bot side of the map.
Now let's see whether or not Ben and Nogari can set any shenanigans afoot. If SOFM is able to get some early advantage there in that lane, can absolutely play into his favor. If you look at the minimap, Angel already starting to shove into Orianna early on right now. Showmaker's going to start to fall backwards.
And this is something that you would expect as well, because SOFM wants to try and path towards the top Scuttle Crab when he has a pushing mid and a pushing top. That's the easiest crab for him to secure. And meanwhile, Canyon is going to look to do something, exactly the same thing, except on the bottom side of the map. Already, Beryl is looking for a Roman mid, using the priority bot, level 2, to alleviate some of the pressure. Angel, though, just going to disengage. And we're going to be seeing a lot of this, quick shot, because Canyon as a player, he doesn't actually gank for his lanes a lot. What he likes to do is focus on himself, make sure that he's farming up, and it's kind of how the meta is, but that's also what DAMWON is so good at. But sometimes your lanes are not in a great state. Sometimes your lanes need assistance from someone else, and this is where Beryl comes in. What DAMWON will do is they will ring the barrel when they need help.
So hold it, okay? Ring the barrel?
They will ring the barrel. If top lane needs a little bit of assistance, Beryl will base, he'll look to roam up top. If the mid lane needs to be pushed out, as we just saw, he will run, and that is ringing the barrel from DAMWON. So keep an eye on that throughout this series, because it's going to happen a lot, because Canyon, all they care about is making sure that he gets as much farm as possible. Look, already hitting that level 4, he's done a full clear, he's going to get his Scuttle Crab. Now he can look to reset, or he can look to get a little bit of deep vision, maybe even look to contest the enemy gromp.
And exactly like you talked about with SOFM and Canyon's pathing and focus, I will be keeping my eye on that minimap. And Vedius, you let me know when you think DAMWON are going to ring the barrel, as it were. On this Pantheon with that Grand Starfall, he will have an ability to impact these lanes. And when you combo it with an Orianna or an Ornn or Canyon's Graves, there is a lot of CC and or damage to work with. But we consistently see Huanfeng and Sword Art being pushed in. They're down 8 CS already. If all 3 are picked up, it's still a 5 advantage to be expected. And also because of the fact that they have that very strong leash with SOFM on the blue bar.
Certainly that. Now, as you can look across the map, you'll see that the bot lane for Ghost and Barrel right now is not actually that safe. But they've already invested this deep ward towards the bot side of the map, so they know exactly where SOFM is, and they can react accordingly. They've also got the whole bot river warded. And notice how Showmaker is playing towards the bot side, because that's where his vision is. So all of DAMWON have the information that they need to continue playing through their lanes, and again, like, they're making sure, all the laners are making sure that Canyon can just farm freely. They want to make sure that he's getting as much farm and XP as possible, and you can already see hitting that level 5 mark has taken his first base, and now they can even look for an early Drake, given that mid is pushed and bot is keeping the pressure up.
That's something I'm going to keep my eyes on, Vedius. You talked in the draft how both of these comps can be played out sort of front to back, and you know, you set expectations, which we're seeing. Slightly slower laning phase, with maybe a focus on these team fights and battles around objectives. The fact that the Cloud Drake has already been started by Canyon. See, with the pressure that Beryl and Ghost have in the bottom lane, they've unlocked the ability to start the Drake off. Showmaker TP'd early, which means Angel's catching a wave. He hasn't been able to back. And this will be an uncontested first Drake going the way of DAMWON Gaming.
So already in this early game, it might not feel like it, but DAMWON already has a number of advantages. Number one, they've been able to use their strong 2v2 in the bot side to generate a lot of pressure. They've been forcing Huanfeng and Sword Art to play very defensively, but also in the top side of the map with the bounce back in the wave. Nogari played very well in the 1v1 and forced the TP out from bit. Now Nogari is going to answer. I didn't think that he needed to, but now it's Sword Art's turn to move around the map. He's gotten his first base off because Beryl was helping, and now Nogari is in a bit of danger. Let's have a look at the minimap and see if anyone is coming to assist already. The barrel is being rung. He's already making his way towards the mid lane, but it looks like Nogari is just going to say, right, I recognize the position that I'm in. My wave is not in a great space, but I'm on. It's fine if I lose a bit of farm. I can play defensively, and I'll just wait for this wave to come into me.
I mean, he had Flash, Call of the Forge God, still had the access to the Bellows Breath. We were watching him for some time, so a difficult gank to pull off, you know, opportunistic maybe, at best, on the side of Suning. And as you've alluded to, Vedius, some early advantages here going the way of DAMWON. And when we look across their games, 13 games here played at the World Championship, they pick up the first tower in 85% of their games. I want to see if they can once again secure that first objective, and then start to move their pieces around the map.
Well, the way in which they're going to do that is going to be the Rift Herald. It spawns in a minute, 15 seconds, and these are the pieces that you're going to be looking at once again. Number one, Beryl. He's always going to be trying to move first. He already moved to help secure the Drake, and that was Sword Art's window to look for a roam where he wasn't able to find anything. But notice that they're continuing to push, and they're always getting this deep vision in the bot side jungle. So when SOFM is pathing up towards top to get his clear, they're getting that vision. Now they know exactly where SOFM is. They know where Angel is because he's just done his blue buff. So they're going to look to, I imagine, try and keep this pressure up and then have Beryl roam and have Ghost play on the weak side. They may even bring Ghost up with them, something that we have often seen, but they need Beryl there first so that they can look to start that objective.
And VODs, look at the CS difference between Huanfeng and Ghost. It's already at 15, with some minions pushing towards Ghost and Beryl for the first time, it feels like, in 7 minutes. Huanfeng and Sword Art, they're actually able to get past that first barrier. They've been sitting under their tower for so long. Also, a brief note, 3 minutes to Mountain Drake. That means for game 1 of our finals, we're going to be playing for Infernal or Ocean Soul, and that will again just increase the pressure to ensure that the soul is not secured by DAMWON from the perspective of Suning.
For sure, because I think that this game is ultimately going to come down to a lot of dragon fights, and with the first dragon already be taken very early, you know that we're going to get to that point where first items from both teams, and they're like, okay, let's look to fight, let's look to set up, and already DAMWON up towards the top side, they're going to start the Rift Herald on spawn. Beryl has done his reset, as we talked about. Sword Art is going to be a little bit late, but it looks like Canyon is getting a little bit creative here. He's instead, rather than starting off the objective, actually pathing up towards top. And I think for the time being, he is just sitting outside of vision, but Suning is suspicious. Instead, they're going to wait. Beryl has now arrived, as we talked about, and now as they're setting up, they have the numbers advantage. Oriana's going to push in mid, and let's see if Suning look to contest.
And remember, if DAMWON start a fight, SOFM does have access to that stand united, so he can jump in at a moment's notice. I think Ghost, maybe respecting the potential of a dive, not level 6 on Sora yet, but he's already backed away from that lane, from the wave that was away from him at the tower. Canyon will be able to pick up this Rift Herald uncontested. CS advantages again. Ghost in the bottom lane, Bin in the top lane, a very small advantage for the time being. It is a minute and a half till the Dragon. I don't see strong vision yet for either team really around that objective. So let's keep an eye on whether or not DAMWON want to start pushing that vision again deep into Suning's jungle to secure a safe Mountain Drake.
Well, what I imagine is that DAMWON's going to continue to do what they've been doing pretty much throughout this game, which is path towards bot and then invest more resources there. Try and get a couple more plates into Ghost's back pocket, because they don't really care about Noguri. They're just like, hey, you're a tank. Your responsibility is to team fight. And Noguri's like, okay, I get it. And so I imagine that what they're going to do is try and look for a window where Showmaker will have the push in mid. He's been actually able to go back to base just now, and he's going to grab himself both the Tear and the Lost Chapter. Of course, he had one beforehand. But now Azir's going to get the reset, and this is exactly the window that they were looking for. Azir just reset. Oriana now back on the map. Ghost also just picked up the Cutlass, is going to be able to get the push in bot, and now I expect to see push in mid, the return of the bot lane. Canyon grabs his red buff. They throw the Herald bot, and then through that pressure, they're able to convert it into a Drake.
It feels like DAMWON are just one step ahead, but it is still deadly close. At the 10-minute mark, less than 100 gold difference, and SOFM will show his head top at the moment. Cyclone does get chucked down, but look at the damage onto Bin. He's losing out for the time being. Call of the Forge God comes out. The knockback is interrupted thanks to the secondary Cyclone. Noguri is not going to be able to survive much longer as Bin flashes forward. First blood to Suning in the finals.
So this is the cross-map play that you would expect. Suning recognized that DAMWON is going to be passing towards the bot side of the map, playing for that second Drake, and they needed to make something happen top. I was concerned for Bin in that trade, because you saw the amount of magic damage that Noguri can do against the Blue
Did you hear the fear in my voice?
Yes,
it was going to get turned around.
But they were able to get the kill. It did, of course, cost Bin his flash, but they will be able to convert this into some plays. Now, I love this teleport from Showmaker, because it's actually going to mitigate the number of advantages that Suning can actually get. And look, Canyon is now pathed towards the mid lane. Now, of course, what this will do is it means that they can't drop the Herald bot, but it doesn't matter, because what they've gotten was the Drake, and that's what they wanted to. 2 Drakes on the board now, 11 minutes in. We're looking at a 20-minute 4th Drake, and this 3rd Drake is definitely going to be a very contested objective. So you can see how much damage is mitigated, but also Noguri using his Bellows Breath to avoid the initial knockup. Then it's here where the second knockup comes through from Bin, so that Noguri cannot use his second proc of the ultimate, and then I like this use of the W from SOFM to mitigate any potential auto-attack damage that would get that lethal.
500 gold lead and a kill to Suning. 4 minutes until the Infernal Drake spawns, and we are playing for the Infernal Soul now. And as you pointed out, Vedius, 20-minute timer for that Soul. So Suning will need to contest on the third Drake. It's something we were anticipating in our prep for this series, that if these front-to-back team comps came through, that then you throw down at Drake 3, and if not, you absolutely have to do it at Drake 4. So 3 minutes time, we'll check what the state of the map looks like.
So, it's funny because we've been talking a lot about DAMWON and what they've been doing well in the early game and some of the expectations, but Suning's also doing what they're supposed to do. Patient play, respecting their opposition, not falling prey to any early mistakes, and recognizing where their priority is and where they should be getting advantages. The best thing that Suning could do in this position is trade for a kill on the top side of the map. They don't need to fight for these early Drakes, they don't need to fight for these Heralds, because that is the point at which they could put themselves at a bigger disadvantage. And the thing about DAMWON is they're the type of team that they only need a single moment to take over the entire game. And we saw that multiple times against G2. One mistake and the game was theirs. So I love that we're seeing this respect and restraint from Suning, because it's what their comp needs and it's what you need to do against a team like DAMWON.
And look at what they have been able to do in the top lane. So Ben is now up around 20 CS. And while Huan Feng does continue to struggle in the bottom lane, Cyclone chucked out here defensively from Ben. Then Call of the Forge God comes out. Great interrupt once again, but here comes Canyon. Ben, no flash, remember. Nuggery's already committed his, and the Stand United from SOFM will dissuade any further engagement. But Nuggery, with the Sunfire Cape and free-ass boots, is doing a lot of damage to Ben.
We can, of course, see that Noguri was quite confident making that play because Canyon was on the top side of the map. We'll drag him away from his clear a little bit, but I think that in this situation it is absolutely fine, and he's going to go back to clearing out his camps. He's actually going to be brought mid lane. Now, this is a little unusual, not something that we usually see, as Beryl goes for the all-in bot.
Oh, Ash Arrow directly tags Huan Feng. He flashed in a straight line, but Swordot's re-engage, has locked up DAMWON. Ghost is going low, he's in trouble. True Shot Barrage, not going to be enough just yet, as the first death is Swordot. After Nuggery completes the TP, turns the damage back onto Huan Feng, and he's forced away with his life. The Volcanic Rupture not going to stop Huan Feng escaping, and DAMWON are on the board.
And crucially, Showmaker interrupted the teleport from Angel. On the minimap, Angel was trying to match the TP that was coming out from Noguri, and as he tried to get sent to the bot, Showmaker was the one that got in the way, interrupted it, and prevented that play from being turned in Suning's favor, because they were doing a great job. That 2 versus 2 did not look good for Ghost and Beryl initially, but if it wasn't for Noguri arriving, turning the play around, then that could have ended in disaster for DAMWON. So a lot of small pieces there working out in DAMWON's favor.
Coming straight out of that replay, I'm keeping my eyes on the minimap, the Shockwave and the TP, whether or not Angel, how aggressive Showmaker needed to be to interrupt it. And there we go. Thank you to the observers for catching it.
Yeah, so that's what we were talking about. And again, that interrupt was really important because you can see how low Beryl and Ghost were in this situation. And had Angel arrived, this would have been a much worse situation for the DAMWON bot lane, but they were able to pull it off.
1 minute until the next Drake. There's a couple of wards from DAMWON placed inside Suning's jungle. No teleport for Angel, no teleport for Ben. And Huan Feng is now swapped to the top lane.
Interesting.
Whether or not Suning are going to contest this dragon in 40 seconds, that's what remains to be seen.
So Suning did this against top eSports as well, where they said, you know what, we're not actually going to fight you until the 4th Drake. We don't care too much about the 3rd one, we'll play on the edge. No, I mean, it worked against top. They were able to pull it off, but I think that they've just accepted that right now they're not stronger. Blade of the Ruin King having been already completed for Ghost, they seem to want to try and make the cross map happen. And look, it looks like that they're going to trade the Rift Herald for it instead. Get the Rift Herald, try to get the top tower, and you've got to remember that with both these mid laners, they are heavy wave clear mids. Usually what this Rift Herald is used for in compositions like this is to break that mid tower. When there's so much wave clear on either side, it's a lot harder to approach, and so they're going to need that objective to actually break into it. But look, the Ezreal now pathing down, SOFM on his way as well. Let's see, I don't think that they will contest this based on the map state right now, and I'm actually quite surprised that they've actually sent the Ezreal mid rather than just keeping him top. It looks like that they want to try and move Angel off onto a side lane, which is not usually where the Azir wants to be, but for the time being, when playing up against an Ornn, they probably think that for now, it is absolutely fine. And what we're building towards, Quickshot, is that 4th Drake fight. That will be the play that ultimately I think is a large part decides the game, because if Suning win that fight, I think their composition shows like how strong it will get as the game progresses, how much harder it will be to deal with given how long range it is. Whereas if DAMWON is able to win that fight, obviously they're going to get the full three, and a fight's happening bot lane.
Engage, Flash Cyclone coming out, Stand United brings SOFM to the bottom lane, Beryl's already down, Bin stays alive a few seconds longer before Ghost is able to take him out. Canyon continues the chase, he's already used the collateral damage, and Sword Art is waiting in the wings. He's got a solar flare available to fire, but not a lot of damage to follow up on. He manages to catch the Zenith Blade. That's a catch down to Canyon, and SOFM with the help is going to be able to find it. That's a double kill for River Shen on Suning.
Beautifully done from Suning, and look at how quickly they've ballooned this gold advantage. The game has been very even, but a bit of a skirmish happens in bot lane, and Suning used the Shen to their advantage. We like to see these type of plays. It's going to get a little bit more gold in their back pocket. And look at SOFM, 3-0-1. He's been involved in every single kill so far this game. And when we get the replay up, we'll have a look at exactly how that broke down.
Style of me, the VCS player. Last one standing is making a statement again. He's one of the most talked about players at Worlds, and all started here with Bin.
So Bin knows that he has the Shen ultimate, so he dives in recognizing that he can actually go for this all in. Of course, with Canyon's arrival, it may have been something that DAMWON initially did not anticipate, but knowing that Sword Art was on the way as well meant that they could actually go for this re-engage. DAMWON want to try and secure this tower, and that's what Suning take advantage of. Beautiful E from Sword Art.
Yes.
Just at the cusp of Canyon using his E. They're able to get themselves 2 quick kills, so beautifully done from the side of Suning.
And right at the beginning of that replay, I actually missed live that Showmaker's Shockwave was sort of dodged, quote-unquote, by Hanfeng. He was able to use the Arcane Shift, and this time around does it again. Summoner Heal has already been used, and Ghost with the Blade of the Ruin King and Zeal is putting a lot of damage down. But yeah, Hanfeng escaped the ultimate commitment from Showmaker, and as we get into 20 minutes, it is a 3,000, 2,000 gold lead rather for Suning. They are down 3 dragons, and it's 2.5 minutes, so they have to fight in the pit in 2.5 minutes.
But I think they're feeling pretty happy, because one of the things about Pantheon is you want to try and use him to get early advantages, because he's going to get outscaled by the Leona later on. Notice that Sword Art is actually very strong at this point in the game, and Beryl is pretty weak. Ooh, Shockwave comes through.
Shockwave catches onto Sword Art, the tower falls as well, and that solar flare will not tag anyone. DAMWON happy to just break the tower, the second of the game. And against a wave clear mid sort of like Azir, even though he hasn't really been assigned to that lane for the last few minutes, opening up access to Suning's jungle is very important for DAMWON. But I think, again, we're just going to be focusing in on this dragon. Trinity Force has been picked up by Ben. Almost the Iceborne Gauntlet for Hanfeng. I'm just trying to see what other big items have been picked up. As we see SOFM will be able to interrupt the Beryl.
Just to get in the way.
Cheeky, and gets the Rift Herald down in the mid lane.
I don't think they're going to be able to take this tower yet, though. The last hit going to come in from Ghost. But Beryl wants to get the reset, and I think that delaying support resets is very valuable, because you look at the supports and the inventories right now, 0 wards in the back pocket of Beryl. He wants to get on the back foot, but Suning know this, which means they can invade in the enemy jungle, get deep vision, and they can start setting up for this Drake 1.5 minutes in advance. Noguri, of course, does have the teleport, but SOFM just going to cover so they can take this bottom tier 1. And the great thing about Azir is he can take these towers very quickly, especially with the Nash's Tooth completed. And if you just kind of look at the itemization quick show, you can see lots of things are starting to be done. We need to see that reset come in from Hanfeng to get that Iceborne Gauntlet, and then he should be good to go. I think that Suning is saying, right, we've got all the items that we need. Look at the minimap. Look at that beautiful vision. I'm actually just going to bring it up right now, because they just used this opportunity to set up all these wards. They have the entire entrances covered, and now DAMWON is going to have to invest their vision to clear, which means that when you get into the river, it's all going to be dark. Suning is in the best possible position to set up for this Drake. Let's see if they can secure it.
Luden's Echo just completed by Angel a moment or two ago. The Hurricane picked up by Ghost. Black Cleaver picked up by Canyon. The Power Race as well as now Iceborne Gauntlet. It's 20 seconds until the Infernal Spawn. Sword Art steps just into DAMWON territory. Various paint a picture for me on how this fight can start, because it looks like Suning may be the first ones into the river.
Well, it's the choke points that Suning want to try and control. If they can force people into these entrances to the river, then you can utilize the strong poke that an Azir and an Ezreal does have. They've already gotten the mid prio. They're going to force Noguri to TP in, and he's going to be reliant on acting as the face check tool. Notice that he's going to be the one to enter the river. He's going to be the one to face check along with Beryl to make sure that they can soak up the majority of the damage. The dragon is being started started, Angel and Sorta are looking for a flank.
There's no flash on Bin just yet. If this drags out over time, he will be able to flash Cyclone the back line for DAMWON. Swordart's looking for an engage. He's got himself with a solar flare. Beryl gonna jump onto Bin. Cyclone already used. Beryl about to die. He flashes away defensively. Stays alive a few seconds longer. Now Bin's in trouble. It's a trade of a jungle for support, but it's DWG Gaming that are split up. They're surrounded. It's with him. Catches a taunt onto Nogari. Here comes Swordart and Angel. Hwanfeng running for his life. Blast cones over the wall, and Canyon is sticking onto Hwanfeng. The rest of Suning are in the river, and DAMWON control the map. They control the river, and they take down Hwanfeng.
I think Suning tried to flank when they just didn't need to. They want to be playing front to back, but Angel and Swordart just weren't involved in the fight. The good news for Suning is that they're still alive. So S2FM still has the smite. Let's see if they can take away this objective.
The glide, the divide, the Emperor's divide is available. There it is! Jumping 1, 2, 3 court. Goes Golden and stays alive a few seconds longer, but the damage and the survivability from Showmaker and Ghost is wrecking Suning. They get themselves kills. They set themselves up for the soul, but here comes Bin. He's going to teleport in. Grand Starfall comes down. The Infernal Drake has been stopped for now, and Bin will get dropped once again, with DAMWON now turning their attention back to the Infernal Drake, looking to secure the Infernal Soul.
I think that in that fight, DAMWON just played better. They recognized that they needed to stay grouped. They saw Bin out of position, and his ultimate was forced very early onto a single member. There wasn't cohesion coming out from Suning in that fight, and DAMWON looked to take advantage of it. And this is the crucial moment that I want to draw your attention, because look at the minimap. Azir and Leona are just nowhere near right now. They're trying to set up a flank, but DAMWON warded for it, which means that they know they have a numbers advantage in this situation. They can take Bin out. And like, the fight is split for Suning. There is no front to back. There's easy access onto Hwanfeng because Angel isn't doing anything. Yeah. So Suning, while they did have a really good setup, I think that they tried to do too much in the fight, and they end up getting punished by DAMWON. A
little too over-eager, maybe, a little too creative. You know, we talked in draft 20 minutes ago about how both comps could be played front to back, and Bin didn't have that flash. I wonder if it was a consideration. So we come out of the play. 8 kills to 6, it's still 2 towers apiece, and DAMWON have got themselves the Infernal Soul. This makes the Elder Dragon 28 minutes a terrifying prospect. But we have seen this World Championship already. It is possible to win a game when you concede the soul to your opponents. Suning fairly, you know, they'll remember that. Yes. Okay, familiar with it, thank you. But it is a very uphill battle because of the benefits and the bonuses that DAMWON have accrued for themselves.
Certainly will. Now, the arrow will come out from Ghost as they look to push up mid, because now Baron is obviously the next objective to play for. They're keeping Nogari on the weak side of the map while keeping Ghost and Beryl in mid to keep this pressure and have them move in through the river. And you can see how dark it is for Suning. They're very afraid of approaching this objective, and just look at the positioning of Canyon right now. He's walking into the enemy jungle, stealing away camps where he can, and he's incredibly powerful at this point in the game as well. Like DAMWON, even though the gold is very even, it's obviously very deceptive.
Yes.
Because Nogari is the one that's kind of at that deficit, but he's still like there to do his job. Where the gold is right now is on top of Ghost, on top of Showmaker, and they are, of course, very strong. That doesn't mean that Angel and Hwanfeng don't have any damage, but this Infernal Soul is really going to make the difference between the two.
Infernal Soul plus Graves, Orianna, Ashe, Pantheon.
Yes.
I think they're very happy with that buff. But now they just need to pick up the Baron and try to move it down. We've already talked about the wave clear that Angel's Azir has on the Rift. Obviously, the Ezreal as well, from relatively long range, can do it okay. But once you get that Baron buff secured, significantly harder to hold onto your base, to hold onto those inhibitor turrets. And they're still out of turret range. It's 2 towers apiece at 25 minutes. This is what we expected from the drafts. You know, fighting around dragons, skirmishes and team fights that then lead to big advantages in the game.
And so this was something that we heard the analyst desk talking about, and how flexible DAMWON actually are as a team, because what they'll do is they make these pivots in the drafts to try and counteract what you like to do. And they're like, well, okay, if Suning like to play for Drake, then that's exactly what we'll do. And we saw how they approached it. They controlled the early Drakes. They were the ones utilizing the strength of their early lane prowess to build these advantages. But now Suning is back on the offensive. They've caught Showmaker out of position. He has no flash, but they're too afraid to commit for now.
Yeah, look at the respect. As soon as Suning realized they're stepping into the darkness, the call was to back away. You could clearly see the comms deciding that factor. With so much at stake in game 1 of the finals of the best of 5, I respect that ability to pull back. They did get the Grand Starfall out of Beryl. It's not the biggest win, of course, because we're still 2.5 away from Elder. And it's felt to me all game, VODs, that DAMWON are pretty comfortable. Just play this at their pace. They've been very calculated. I said many minutes ago, they're like one step ahead of Suning. And they're now just going to play this patiently, push some vision into the northern quadrant, and once they've set up some vision, then can make some plays for Baron.
Yeah, and I think that they're afraid of just starting Baron blindly because that's how they lose, right? They may even wait for Elder, but like they kind of have a number of options right now. For the time being, Beryl has to be very careful. What he's doing is a little dangerous.
Well, same kind. Ben is a little overextended. Call of the Forge God comes out. Cyclone will buy some time. Flash is still available. Side steps away from the collateral damage. That's a secondary knock-up onto Canyon. SOFM Stand United brings in the support and Canyon goes down. The Ash Arrow right between the upsides. Angel committed the teleport for this as now Beryl is down as well. Nogri continues to be the target as Angel and SOFM look to run him down. And Sword Art's coming in from behind. Solar Flare has already been used. Showmaker's got the flash available, but there's no shockwave. Shield of Daybreak to the face. True Shot Barrage is dodged by the Hourglass. And there comes SOSM, the taunt. The first death on the side of Suning is then going to be Sword Art as they turn around and Nuguri goes down. Ghost is the last man standing, and Suning find a team fight after Bin was caught.
Excellent use of the teleports from Suning, and just a great play from the Shen. DAMWON were afraid to just commit to the Baron, so they wanted to try and find a pick. The problem with trying to find a pick is that there's a Shen in the game.
Yes.
His ability to join from the other side of the map means that it's not as easy as DAMWON would want to be able to just find an easy pick on a side lane. Suning are able to punish, and they were even able to catch Barrel out. You noticed it in the river, quick shot. But they were able to find that pick, and now they're on the Baron. They're going to be able to cleanly take this one down, and all of a sudden, Suning are back in the game.
Well, not only back in the game, they've got 30 seconds before the Elder is up. DAMWON can feel that one. They're going to interrupt at least one of the recalls. Remember, teleports were committed, and Stand United is still on cooldown. Do DAMWON try to rush the Elder? It does look like SOFM and Sword Art are still in the Rift, and it feels like Suning should be able to contest.
Yeah, they will. The Baron buff recall timers is going to give them more than enough time to be able to go back to base, get back out on the map, and I love what Sword Art's doing right now. Standing in mid lane just so that there are Baron-empowered minions, so Ghost cannot clear the wave as quickly as he wants. Now, DAMWON do have initial setup on the objective. They got a couple of control wards with Beryl. He was forced to reset to replenish his wards. Notice as well, Death Cap not yet completed for Showmaker, whereas Angel has already finished his third item. The Leandris has come through, and now you're kind of looking at this comp from Suning, and you're like, well, I do think the scaling is pretty good on their side. We already talked about the front to back, and this is just what I want to see from Suning. No more fancy flanks.
Yes.
Just take them, face them from the front, and just kill whoever's in front of you initially. I think that they have the tanks to do it. They have the backline damage to do it, and I like what I'm seeing from Bin now, pushing in the bot lane, generating that extra source of pressure, forcing DAMWON to make a decision. DAMWON, what's the choice going to be?
Well, they haven't committed yet. Onefung's not with Suning either. If DAMWON pull the trigger right now, Onefung will be a little late to the party. Ben starts to back away, and it is still just this standoff at the Elder Drake. Onefung stepping back. Ghost's Enchanted Crystal Arrow is available, and that is going to be one of the tools that DAMWON can use to initiate his start to look for a pick. Suning 3,000 gold up, but the Elder Dragon buff with 4 Elemental Drakes is not something you can concede.
Orianna just did a sneaky base. I think that DAMWON is trying to take advantage of the fact that Suning don't have full information here, and they're trying to buy time. Orianna getting that death cap is going to be so huge for the upcoming fight, and Suning are not going to punish DAMWON for it. So a bit cheeky there from DAMWON. Beryl now going to do the same thing as he looks to replenish his wards. Notice that Sword Art also out of vision for the time being. Is he going to reset as well? He's actually going to stay in mid, so DAMWON, they played this well, even though they recognize that right now they don't feel super strong. Oh, this was the replay that happened earlier. This was them catching Beryl out as he tried to roam towards bot. Now Suning, they're going to start this off. They know that they don't have the restock on vision. They're going to kick this one off. They don't have the push in mid, but Bin is on the flank, and I think this is a much better position for DAMWON to, for Suning rather, to be in, but they've warded for the flank.
Well, let's see what happens. Nogri has not used Call of the Forge God. Sword Art has been caught out. He catches a Zenith Blade, jumps down onto Ghost. Here comes Bin. The Elder Drake is still the focus of Suning, and Bin goes in with a Cyclone. He almost picks up the kill, manages to survive a few seconds longer, but Suning get the Elder Drake so far at the cost of only Bin. They're going to try to escape, and now Beryl jumps in with the Grand Starfall, gets caught up by the Taunt, and Angel will send him to the fountain. Angel gets blown up by Canyon, and now SOFM is in trouble. At the same time, Huan Feng picks up a kill onto Ghost, and SOFM is running for his life. He will get taken down. 4 deaths for 2, but the Elder goes the way of Suning.
Whew. Now this is a world final. This is what we wanted to see. Both teams going toe-to-toe. Even though Suning, it feels like they're losing, they continue to accelerate the gold. They're the ones with the gold advantage. They're the ones with carries, continuing to get more and more items. One member gets the Elder Drake. This is, of course, is not ideal for Suning. Oh, but can Showmaker save it?
Flash is not available for Showmaker, continues to step forward. Huan Feng's Mystic shots don't find the targets. He's shut down! Solo kill by Showmaker!
Beautiful stuff from Showmaker, punishing Huan Feng in the mid lane, and now there are no Elder Drakes on the side of Suning. That's going to completely remove that objective, and let's have a look back at how this fight all started off. Swordart kind of gets caught off on the side lane, not really in the river with his team, but he gets onto the back line, but also gets blown up immediately. The power of the Infernal Soul right there. Then we're getting to see the damage of Bin on the back line, but he doesn't have the support of the Shen this time round, so DAMWON are just staying together as a group. Now DAMWON's goal is to just catch off the stragglers. They use the Pantheon ultimate to stop Angel from disengaging. SOFM wants to try and keep his mid laner alive, and I think that if they do keep Angel alive here, there's a world in which they can turn that fight around, but because DAMWON get the shutdown, they're able to take out SOFM as well, and they're able to remove all traces of the Elder Drake.
26 kills in 32 minutes. 4 minutes until the next Elder Drake, a minute and a half until the next Baron buff, and I am loving this game 1 in the finals. Constant team fights around the objectives, but you can also see and feel the respect, the tension, maybe the fear in terms of how they're treating these engagements. Suning have come out on top for the most part on the last couple of engages.
What I think we've been seeing here is that DAMWON have kind of played their traditional style of control, but they needed to take a bit of risk when it came to the Baron, and that's when they went for that pick in the bot lane, and obviously things didn't pan out. And what we're seeing from Suning is that kind of young blood confidence that we've seen from them throughout the tournament, where like they don't really play with any hesitation. When they see their opportunity, they're going to go for it, and I think that they've been doing a great job of that, and it's keeping this game very close, even though they're fighting against an Infernal Soul, arguably one of, if not the strongest Dragon Souls in the game. Like, the fact that they're able to be this resilient is large part because of their comp, but because they're willing to go toe-to-toe with DAMWON. They're not conceding these objectives, and now the next Baron is going to be very crucial.
Yeah, but Vedius, Suning have been that resilient all tournament long. Freak said it last week, the most impressive run of Worlds so far. They find themselves in the final against DAMWON. Suning have been able to upset and surprise at nearly every single stage, and already in game 1, for me and my eyes, I am surprised and excited by what they are showing in this first game. It is still not clear which team will win. It is balancing on a knife edge, and it will come down to the team fight. Shockwave catches, and Swordart is dead before he can do anything. No flash, no solar flare, no support for Suning.
Wow, and DAMWON just blow up Swordart. He's supposed to be the front line, but again, that is the power of the Infernal Soul. It just melts through these tanks, and the items are just so strong for DAMWON. A small mistake like that could be all that they need to secure this Baron.
Stand United was used by SOFM. That's a catch once again onto him from Beryl. Ben is waiting in the wings now. If DAMWON can get caught by Cyclone, that is problematic. Ben has got flash available to him. No vision inside the pit. Suning starts to step forward, and Beryl is the first target. 4,000 hit points on Baron. They peel away for a brief second and turn back in to chip away. The Ash Arrow catches Huan Feng. DAMWON pick up the Baron. Now they're trying to escape with their lives. Angel has got himself the Emperor's Divide, but no target. And they get the kill on Swordart, they get the Baron, and they get out unscathed.
I like the positioning from Showmaker a lot in that fight. He was hovering towards the bot side of the river and just basically zoning both SOFM and Bin from the pit, utilizing the ball. It meant that if they got too close, he was going to look to one-shot them, and it was a very real possibility. We've already seen what damage he can do on to Swordart. So good patient play there from DAMWON. Suning once again going to be put on the back foot. But you know what Baron doesn't help with? taking an Elder Drake. So Suning, they're going to look to just try and stall for a little while longer. They're going to try and push out these waves. They just took the mid-tier 1 finally after 35 minutes.
Yes, 3 towers apiece.
And of course, you do still get some small advantages from the Baron buff, which is going to be beneficial for DAMWON. But in terms of itemization, very close, very similar across the board. And it all comes down to the execution of these fights. DAMWON kind of have all the advantages that they could need to win this next Elder fight, but so far, that hasn't really proven enough to end this game for them.
And all credit to Suning. Despite being down in Infernal Soul, they are still keeping themselves relevant here. I mean, the Warmugs were just picked up by SOFM. Death Dance sitting for both Bin as well as Hwanfeng. The GA for Bin as well. His stopwatch Cyclone combo was almost enough to kill Ghost in the previous Dragon fight. 20 seconds till Elder is up, but if you look at the map state this time, DAMWON have got control because of the Baron-empowered minions. So this means it's significantly harder for Suning to not only contest, but to actually start that fight.
If anything, DAMWON's basically saying, listen, if you're going to fight on our terms, you're going to play around our lanes, and we're going to make it very difficult, as you rightly said, to actually start that objective, because we know that's the way in which we lose. So instead, we're going to leverage our Baron buff. We still have a minute of it left. We're going to take as much away from you as possible. And in the meantime, we're going to gain full vision control over your side of the map. Look at all these wards in the enemy jungle. Now they're going to look for a pick onto Bin.
All right, Bin does have flash available to him. That's the ultimate thrown down. He's holding on to it.
They got what they wanted.
Now.
Quick shot. That ult is now gone from Bin. That backline threat is disappeared. And let's see if Suning, I don't think they're even going to be in a position to contest this because it's already gone.
They're way too late. They're way too late. Elder Dragon with Infernal Soul picked up by DAMWON. They still have themselves the Baron buff as well. And the Ash Arrow goes right between Suning. They're able to escape. Call of the Forge Guard knocks up Hwanfeng, but Sword Art's the target for now. He gets dashed on and jumped on and shot in the face by Canyon. Taken down. 16th kill for DAMWON. And with the Elder, with the Baron, they're now going to start the plays top lane as well.
So Suning pushed in mid and they pushed in bot, and they tried to give DAMWON as few waves as possible. Angel and TP top to try and clear that one out, but DAMWON was like, nah, not that one. Showmaker with a fast TP to match, and now they have the wave that they need to break into the base.
Can they finish it on this push? That's what we're going to find out. The inhibitor's going to be the next focus. Baron impart minions for just a few seconds longer. That will time out right about now. Elder Drake is available. If anyone from Suning goes low, they will go down. They will die. True Shot Barrage fired from Hwanfeng. Does not do a whole lot, but the minions are cleared out. DAMWON have to wait for the next conga line to make its way into Suning's base. And DAMWON have got themselves a tangible taste of victory after a hard-fought 40 minutes.
Wow. Well, unfortunately for DAMWON, because their Baron buff disappeared, they can't keep the push in. They also will likely have their Elder disappear, which means that we're probably in for one more fight. Quick shot, the game isn't quite over yet. My word, what an intense game one. And I wonder if this will set the trend for the series. Will it be very much about Drakes? Will we see an adaptation? Will we see more of this early game focus? Like, still so many questions to be had about how these two teams go toe-to-toe, but what we can say for sure is that DAMWON, in terms of their objective setup and their team fighting, is still a monster that is difficult to deal with, but Suning are finding ways. The question is, can they find a way when pretty much everything is stacked against them?
Yes.
No soul, like
against Baron and Elder.
Yes, it's like they've been able to hold the line for now, but now they also have lost their inhibitor in the top lane. Full builds are being completed across the board. Like, it's going to be tough for Suning, but they've proven miracles before.
Yes,
Let's see if they can do it again.
And of course, on the side of Suning, you know, they did have side selection this game. Whoever loses game one picks the side selection for game two. This is a best of 5 in the final, and Bin will be forced to run for his life. Grand Starfall comes down once again. Call of the Forge God comes out. We'll find a knock-up. Showmaker running from the side. Bin is going to continue to escape, and the Ash Arrow from Ghost was optimistic. Not going to be a long-range stun this time, but the Cyclone is not available for the ensuing fight. Elder has timed out, and the super minions are currently being caught by Angel. This is good for Suning, but they're at a numbers disadvantage if a fight breaks out.
Clever collapse from DAMWON as they actually tried to punish Bin as he recalled, and now the collapse, the engage.
They jump onto SOFM and not going to be able to do much more damage through that Spirit's Refuge, in the tower stays alive for now. The minion wave was cleared out relatively quickly. Suning 3,000 gold down, 40 seconds to the next Baron, 3 minutes to the next Elder, and they live to fight another day. They are losing every single inch of Summoner's Rift.
Yep. slowly more and more is being taken away from Suning, and you can see even if they do get the Elder, that doesn't suddenly mean that they win the game. They need a big team fight victory to be able to swing this game back in their control. But it is possible, just very, very difficult. Wow, what an intense game one.
Now, let's take a look at the vision setup. 10 minutes to Baron. Do you think DWG need the Baron to win?
Wait, look at Wukong, look at Wukong. He's being a little sneaky here. He's just sitting in that brush, hoping that someone from DWG looks to face check. There has been a control ward every single fight at that point. But the problem is that the Baron is alive. So DWG don't really care about the bottom side of the map right now. They care about the top side.
Oh, so much tension. There are more Elder Dragons and Barons killed in this game than we've seen any previous Worlds, and there's no indication it's over yet. Ben will go golden for a second. Where is he going, Vision? His observer's trolling me a touch there, actually. He backed away, out of sight. I was so focused on Ghost and whether he was going to jump on him or not.
Here we go. Good setup from DWG here. They're using Barrel to zone. Suning out of the pits. There is a control ward now inside.
Suning going to have to pull the trigger very, very soon. Here comes Juan Feng. Ben is making his way up through the river. Keep your eyes on that minimap, and DWG, they back away, recognizing this time they don't have the same level of information and control, so they don't expose themselves to the risk of the engage.
Well, also, Suning learned the hard way that if they face check an area of the map that doesn't belong to them, they will just insta-die.
Yes.
TP now coming in, back to mid lane.
Okay, and this is going to be the focus. The next Baron, the next Elder can win. Both teams have secured themselves an Elder. We've seen a Baron as well, and now Canyon goes back to the objective. Beryl can come in with that Grand Stoffel.
So Bin just reset, but he does have the teleport. What Suning need to do is reset for wards, and that's the window that DWG is trying to take advantage of. Notice that there are no control wards left. Arrow comes through.
SOFM gets caught out, flashes away, and he's down! Nuguri gets the final hit for DWG. No smite inside the pit, but the Cyclone, the Emperor's Divide, the Solar Flare are huge. They have to be flawless. That is Angel being forced away. Beryl is running him down. The Baron goes low. True Shot Barrage is not going to be enough, and the Baron is secured by DAMWON Gaming. They turn their attention onto Angel, who is forced to use the Emperor's Divide, the Slide, the Glide. He's holding onto the Flash, and he gets popped by Beryl. Two members of Suning are down, and DAMWON with Baron-empowered minions, they're going to push into the base. They might be looking for the Nexus.
And it was the pick that DAMWON have been looking for. They shut down SOFM, the smite disappears, the risk of a steal gone with it, and now with DAMWON the kill lead, the Baron in their back pocket, and an empty inhibitor standing in their way, they're looking to end game one.
It has felt like a long time coming, a hard-fought victory, and DAMWON are setting themselves up by taking down the first Nexus turret. They will get themselves the GA out of Bin. The knock-up onto Juan Feng, and he jumps away. The Cyclone goes up, but there's just not enough damage. A lot is returned back onto Ghost. His GA is still up. The first Nexus turret is down, and I think the Showmaker Shockwave did not really do much. Juan Feng is taken out in the backside of the fight, and SOFM will respawn only to die and watch his Nexus explode. DAMWON strike first in